What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, I want to run through some news and some topics in this college football world as we are 5 days from New Year's. And yes, that means we're going to get number 2 Clemson versus number 3, Ohio State. We're going to get number 1, Alabama versus number 4, Notre Dame. And to talk about it all, with my best friend, Ron Taylor, with me right now as I do every Monday. Ron, how you doing?
Hey, what's good, RJ?
A lot, actually. So, as you very well know, I have been in a Nick Saban deep dive mode. And I can't wait to discuss that with you. But first, I got to start with reading to you. So, people don't seem to understand how much I like reading off a prompter. And I don't have a prompter right now, so I'm just going to read what I wrote on Fox Sports off my phone. As it relates to one, Dabo Swinney and, what he had to say about Ohio State just this morning. Dabo Swinney punted the Hornets' nest, and now he's standing his ground as the Hornets continue to swarm. Last week, the Clemson coach made waves when his USA Today Amway coaches poll ballot was publicly disclosed, one of many made public, as is customary at the end of the season. Inevitably, there are teams ranked arbitrarily high and low that raise eyebrows, but none more so than Swinney's ranking for his Sugar Bowl opponent. Ohio State ranks number 3 in the college football playoff rankings, number 3 in the Associated Press poll, despite playing just 6 games en route to clinching a Big Ten title. But Swinney ranked the Buckeyes number 11 in his poll and has spent the last week defending his opinion. He knew his ballot would be made public for all to see, and he doesn't think his opinion about the best 25 teams in America would matter much if Ohio State was not his opponent in the playoffs, saying, quote, "You don't think I know that's going to be public? But to me, right is right. It's not always easy to do the right thing. I absolutely knew that I would be the poster child for whatever. I could probably run for governor in Michigan and might have a good chance, but probably not very popular in Ohio," end quote. An undefeated Ohio State with 2 top 25 wins and a Power 5 conference title met the criteria laid out by the College Football Playoff Selection Committee for inclusion in the national semifinals. And the truth is, an Ohio State with a resume that looked like that looked just fine to Swinney in September. When Swinney was asked about whether or not a Big Ten team should be included in the playoff after canceling the season, reversing that decision, then, an abbreviated schedule might or might not have been a good idea. And even then, he says, I think they ought to do it. His quote here, "It's a crazy year. Who knows how many games anybody is going to have? You have some of the best teams and coaches in that league. It's not their fault. They've worked their butts off." Quite the reversal on Swinney's part, if you ask me. Now, Swinney said Monday that ranking Ohio State outside the top 10 had everything to do with the amount of games played, and he made clear he thought Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Florida, and Cincinnati were penalized for playing more than some. These games matter, he said. That game against LSU, that was big for Florida. Yeah, he's right, because they lost it. They lost to a 3-win LSU team in the second week of December. So, does the scoreboard matter? Yeah, it does. The Gators lost to an LSU team with a true freshman starting at quarterback and without 3 of their top players at home. The Bearcats played 3 top 25 opponents according to the AP and playoff rankings and have a shot at finishing undefeated with a victory against number 9 Georgia in the Peach Bowl. The Aggies' only loss came to consensus number 1 Alabama, but their best and only top 25 win came against Florida. A&M has a chance to win the Orange Bowl against number 13 North Carolina on Saturday. Oklahoma's losses came early in its season to an Iowa State team that earned a Fiesta Bowl berth, and 4-6 Kansas State, which is hardly the kind of resume worthy of a playoff invitation, even for the 6-time defending Big 12 champion Sooners. He said, Dabo Swinney, "I didn't rank anybody who didn't play 9 games or more in the top 10. Nobody. And then after that, I said, okay, anybody who played at all, that's how I will rank that group." And that's why they were 11. He ranked Sun Belt co-champ Coastal Carolina number 10. The Chanticleers were 11-0 and the last undefeated team left in Clemson State, South Carolina, when Sweeney submitted his ballot. They lost in an overtime thriller against Liberty in the Cure Bowl last Saturday. But if name-checking Cincy and ranking the Chants ahead of the Buckeyes is Sweeney's way of giving the Group of Five its due, so be it. But it's doubtful Sweeney would have done more than grin if either of those teams was matched up against his Tigers rather than the Buckeyes. As it stands, Clemson has never lost to Ohio State, and it is well within reason to believe it won't lose on New Year's Day. However, if the Buckeyes needed any more incentive to beat number 2 Clemson than a chance to win a national title, Sweeney is still standing on the Hornets' nest and daring them to strike. Ron, you got thoughts?
I do. I wonder if, like, this is my question to you. How much do we care about Dabo Sweeney rating a team 5% worse than everybody else, or are we rating Ohio State exactly as good as they are? Because I don't know how much energy to give people who want to question only my opinion. That is only a small amount outside of the norm. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be on Team Dabo Sweeney here and say that there's other things that you should pay attention to. It must be a slow news day if you're worried about this 4 being an 11. And only on this sheet.
Okay,
what's your takeaway on this?
As you are now the defense for Dabo Sweeney in the court of public opinion, I would ask this to you on the witness stand, sir. Does it matter that Dabo said in September that he thought that a Big Ten champ should be included if they met the criteria?
Yeah, and looks like he changed his mind along the way.
All right. So in sports talk radio, there is one real rule, which is you die with your opinion. I don't agree with that rule, right? But it also is what sports talk radio listeners hate, is to find a dude that is wishy-washy on his opinion, even if there's new data to suggest that opinion is no longer valid or is wrong, right? To put it mildly. Dwayne Haskins today got released by the Washington football team. Stephen A. Smith comes out to say I was wrong, right? Because we got new data to say that Dwayne Haskins ain't a great NFL quarterback, even if he was a good enough quarterback at Ohio State. I look at it this way. I look at it from the standpoint of I get more evidence to say that we need an expanded playoff. That's what I get. Because would I care that Dabo Sweeney ranked Ohio State number 11 if we had a 16-team playoff? Yeah, I would, because it's Dabo Sweeney. And he has something against Ohio State. He says he doesn't, but my goodness, man, like the way that he has been talking about that team and the way that that team has continued to just kind of show up as long as he's been head coach, I got to believe it. And in 42 years, with the illustrious history that the Buckeyes have, knowing that you've never beaten Clemson and that they are looking to go, I believe it is 5-0 against you, like 78, 2013, I want to say 2015 and 2019. So yeah, looking to go 5-0. My goodness, I love this as a guy who gets to talk about stuff for a living because,
right,
you know, this is content, right? And this is quality. So much so that like I was texting my editor being like, yo, man, can I do this? He's like, yeah, go right ahead, have at it. And I got to put that in front of you that I just read. Thank you for listening to me read that. But it's also wild interesting because you know who people said sucked? You know who people were very upset about? It's Coastal Carolina. You know, and the idea that Dabo Sweeney would trot out Cincinnati, who many of y'all would say ain't played nobody and is going to get boat raced by Georgia, also just serves to show we can't agree on anything. And if we can't agree on anything, we should put in place a system that allows for those grievances to be borne out by a thing called a scoreboard.